point of the video today is this little piece of metal, and I call it metal art, that I'm about to show you here. This box arrived to me from the Yoshimura R&D, Chino, California. Tiny little box. It's not an exhaust system, is it? Definitely not. So what do we got? This is, and I call it metal art because the quality of some of this stuff that Yoshimura makes is pretty incredible. Very nice looking metal and beautiful weld. I mean, they say a stack of dimes weld is what you want, but this looks seamless. I can't even tell. It just looks like caulking there. It's a pretty awesome weld job. So what this is a low volume insert for the Yoshimura Honda Monkey exhaust system. I live in a rural area on 1 acre of land, and I can't hit the neighbor's house with a baseball, so they're not that close, but close enough to hear a 125cc thumper racing around our backyard mini moto track, that's for sure. While I really don't care too much about what the neighbors think, my wife does. At least want to keep the relationships cordial and ensure that if my house is getting robbed or it's burning to the ground, that they'll at least call the cops or fire department and not just say, F him, this dude's motorcycle's way too loud. He's annoyed me for a long time, so whatever, I don't care about him. With all that in mind, I started thinking, yeah, it's a great sounding exhaust, and I like it loud, but maybe it is a little bit too loud for what I'm doing, specifically for what I'm doing. That's not to say that this exhaust is too loud in general. I think it's perfect for the street. You need to be loud, especially down here in Florida, but what I'm doing with the bike is probably a lot different than what everybody else is doing. We're thrashing around our yards on the bikes, doing supermotos, doing little mini motocross tracks, doing drag races down my buddy's driveway. So not too loud is probably better for where I'm at. So with that, I asked Yoshimura if they had an insert to quiet the system down a bit. They didn't. So I asked, could you make something? Do you have something in the works? They didn't know, never really got back to me. That's understandable though, because they just don't have the product that they're not going to have it. So about a month ago, I was shocked to see that this very insert was what I was asking for, and it was on their website. So I didn't know that they built it, and then I asked if hey, how long has this been on there? And the rep that's on Instagram said it's as far as I know, we always had it, in the plans, but I know they didn't have it on the site, because I would have bought it with the system had I known that, just because I think it's a good idea to try. So I don't know if they built it from my conversations on Instagram and my request for it, or if they just had it and it was already in the works but just not on the site yet. However, either way, I saw a chance to alter the sound of my Yoshi system a little bit, and the investment was just too cheap not to try it. So let's see what it does. I'll show you the install. We'll test the sound in the shop, then we'll go test it on the road and see what the difference is between the regular system uncorked and the sound restricted system. You've surely seen my other video. If not, I'll put it up there, one of those two places where you can check out several minutes worth of me just going nuts on the bike and hearing what the exhaust sounds like without this silencer. So please reference that for before. So for the after, we're gonna go out and we're gonna do the same thing with this in it and see how the sound difference is. We'll compare the two videos. I'll put them side by side, one after another, and we'll check it out. However, I also do want to see if this affects the performance, because I see this piece as being a bit of a restrictor to the much freer flowing system. As you can see, this is a pretty small pipe compared to the pipe that's coming out of the back of the exhaust. So I don't know. I haven't had that open yet. Haven't had a chance to look into it, but I'm afraid that it very well could restrict some of the flow. And then whenever you restrict flow, you might lose horsepower. I don't know. I don't have a dyno. I can go out and do a top speed run, but on this bike, it's almost impossible to get a consistent measure of what it's doing, because it really theoretically doesn't go much above 55 miles an hour. But if the wind's at your back and you're laying down with your legs out like Superman, you might be able to get 60. I did it once before. So it's hard to say if this thing cuts a mile or so an hour off the top speed of the bike. I probably wouldn't even know. So basically what I'm going for here is just to see what difference in sound is. And throughout testing it over the next course of however long, if I do like the sound and keep it in, that'll tell me how much power I've lost, because most of what I know this bike and power output is on a supermoto track or on a dirt track, mini moto track, which is first, second gear, trying to pop wheelies and learn that. So I know what the bike feels like doing those things. So as I do those things again with this in it, I'll get a better idea. And what I'll probably do is a follow-up video later on and tell you what I think of this as we've used it some.